And here's our video for lesson 4.2. So we're still focusing on writing equations, linear equations. We're just changing the form. So previously we had talked about slope-intercept form, and that was y equals mx plus b. And remember, this is called slope-intercept because the slope will be this m and the y-intercept will be this b. So if I have an equation written in this form, it's really easy to pick those two things out. The form that we're going to be looking at now is point slope form. So it's not quite as handy to like pick things out in order to graph, but it's really easy to write an equation in this form, and then we can convert it to slope-intercept, which can have can make things kind of nice for us. So what is point slope form? So that form looks like this. So in this form, m is still slope, same as we've always done, and then x1, y1 is just any point that we know is on that line. So let's just kind of look at an example really quickly. On the right, I've got three different ways that I've represented the same line. So if we think about a graph, I've got these 2 points, 3, 3, 2, negative 1. I put those on a coordinate plane, and then I can draw a line. I can think about if I was just given those points, okay, I might handle this a little bit different, or we might see these in a table, right? This is still those same points. 2, 1, and 3, 3 could be points on that graph listed in the table. So we need the slope, same as we've always done before. We can calculate slope. So you could count on the graph, or you could use our points and do like the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. When we do that, we would end up with 2 over 1. Either way that you do that, you get a slope of 2 over 1. And then we have multiple points, right? We have these 2 points just written in different ways. You can pick either one. It doesn't matter which point you use. It will work for this equation of a line. And when we change the form into slope-intercept, we'll end up in the same exact place. So I'll just use the first one, 2, 1. So that's now my x1, y1. Here's my slope. And so I'm going to take, and I'm just going to write this in this form, right? So I'm substituting in for x1, y1, and slope. So it would look like this. Y minus my y value equals my slope times x minus my x value. And that's it. That is point slope form. So one way you might see this is if I just give you those two things, right? I'm giving you, so write the equation of a line that passes through this point. So there's your point. It has a slope of 1/4. So we're just taking that y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we're just going to fill in those couple things, right? Again, slope, x1 and y1. So y minus 3 equals 1/4 times x minus -8. So here's a place that students tend to make mistakes. Remember, if the form has a minus sign, you always need to put a minus sign there, even if the value that's being subtracted is a negative. So we really should clean up that double negative, though. Our final answer should look like this. Right? Because when we subtract a negative, that's the same as adding a positive. Moving on, same thing if we're given a graph. So we're just going to need to find the slope and choose a point, right? So slope is, and I will have this point be my, actually, let's just count this time because I have a graph. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2. So I have a slope of -4 over 2, which I should really reduce to negative 2 over 1 or just negative 2. And then I'm going to choose a point. And this time I'll choose the other one, 3 comma negative 2. Right, so that's my x1 comma y1. And then I'm just going to substitute in. Again, here's my form. Trying to figure out the best place to write all this stuff. Maybe I'll just kind of separate this with a line. Okay, there's my slope and there's my point. So now y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Plug in what we know, and we have y minus negative 2, or y plus 2, equals, slope is negative 2 times x minus 3. So that's it. We're done. But again, it's really easy to write these equations, but it doesn't do a lot for us. So we can also, it's pretty easy for us to, we can convert to slope intercept form. And so let's do that. And this is going to be a two-step process. If we're already right here, we're going to need to distribute this value here, distribute our slope. So we'll do that first. So y plus 2 equals negative 2x. And then I've got a negative 2 times a negative 3 plus 6. Subtract 2 from both sides, and we end up with y equals negative 2x plus 4. So it's always going to be the same two steps, right? If we are in point slope form, it's really easy to change it into slope intercept form. Moving on, final example, write a linear function. So again, remember, when we think of this as a function, f of x is the same as y. So if I look at these points, right, f of 4 equals negative 2, so that means that represents a point in our function where x is equal to 4 and y is equal to negative 2. And then the other one gives us an x value of 8 and a y value of 4. So we can go through the same process. I just need the slope and I need one of my points. Doesn't matter which one we use. We will end up with the same graph. We can take the same information away from this. So let's find our slope. Since I've got points, I always find it easiest to just do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So slope, 4 minus negative 2, or 4 plus 2, over 8 minus 4, which is 6 over 4, which is 3 over 2. So my slope is 3 over 2. My point that I'm going to use, again, it doesn't matter which one you use, 4 comma negative 2, and then let's fill that in. So y minus negative 2, so y plus 2, equals slope times x minus 4. Distribute. Y plus 2 equals 3 halves x minus 6. And then final step, subtract 2 from both sides. Y equals 3 over 2 x minus 8. And again, it might not be a bad idea, just to get a little practice with this. Try plugging in the other point. Okay, so slope will be the same. If you let your other point, instead of using 4, negative 2, use 8, comma 4, go through this process, plugging it in, changing, and you'll know you get the right answer if you get this back again.